Hi, welcome back. Glad you could make it on this beautiful day. I'm not a preacher, so don't expect a sermon. These are about as informal as you can get. I just like to take a little bit of time, just a few minutes, to explain from time to time a little bit about my personal religion, if you will, which I call the Knee Meadow Way. N-A-O-I, Knee Meadow Way. And let me just say, first of all, that this is actually intended not for devout Christians, but for pondering Christians. Have you ever found yourself in a position of pondering what is actually true about the Scriptures, about the Gospels? And you probably feel a little bit embarrassed, a little bit apprehensive about even thinking those thoughts, because that's not Christian, right? You're not supposed to question. But I think we all do from time to time. You read something, you hear your minister talk about something, you say, is that really true? Do you think that actually happened like that? Or was that maybe legend, folklore, something like that? Well, that's what the Knee Meadow Way is all about. We are Christianity for pondering Christians. For those who are not quite ready to be Catholic, not quite ready to be Lutheran or Mormon, but you like the traditions, you like what Christianity is all about, it's a beautiful thing. But maybe there's more to it than what you see in church every Sunday or in Sunday school. Maybe. We call it inspired speculation. We don't really go so far as to say, well, this is true, that's true, this is not true. What we do is we speculate on what could be true based on the evidence. And there's a lot out there to speculate on that you don't hear about in Sunday school. It's not in the Bible. I want to talk a little bit about what we call Trines. Trines, T-R-I-N-E-S. As you might expect, it means threes. And in the tradition of the Knee Meadow Way, we have observed that the important things in the universe almost invariably come in threes. It's like, why would you try to sit on a stool that had two legs? It wouldn't work. Or four legs would wobble. So what makes the best stool? A stool with three legs. Well, a lot of things throughout the world, throughout life, throughout the universe, come in sets of threes. So we have in our tradition what we call trines. Now, one thing I want to talk about today is one of the most important trines, I think, and that's the Trine of Stewardship. We're talking nature. And in our tradition, in our belief, there's an integral connection between nature and Jesus. Now, this is not something you typically think about as a Christian. You say, well, now, what did Jesus ever have to do with nature? Well, actually, he had a lot to do with nature. When you think about it, Jesus was a part of nature. He was a small-town guy. He grew up on the banks of the Galilee, and his experience in life had to do with these birds and things like that you hear in the background here. His parables and his stories he told were almost invariably geared to country folk and rural people, to farmers. Think about it. Sowing seeds and that sort of thing. That's pastoral in nature, where we get the word pastoral. So, nature, which of course is the body of works of God that we're able to see, is very well connected to Jesus. As we go along our adventures, along our journey with NIM, the Knee Meadow Way, being a lover of nature and a student of biology is a big part of it. It goes hand in hand with our Jesus-inspired approach to living. We do all we can to learn what we can about the plant life and the animal species. And we spend as much time as we can amongst them. And that automatically puts you and I and all of us right in the middle of God's work. And that's the way it ought to be. That's nature. It's an integral part of the Trine of Stewardship. Now, we don't worship nature. Don't get me wrong. We're not pagans. We're not New Agers who worship nature. But we are co-travelers with those tribal religions that revere nature and consider themselves to be a part of it. So we are a part of nature. We're not above it. And it's our role, as per God and as per God's messenger Jesus, to be the caretakers of nature, to be the stewards of all that's around us. And that's why we have the Trine of Stewardship of nature. There are three parts of nature that we are asked to take care of. It's the Trine of nature. Three parts of nature: peace, beauty, and life. Those are the three things that make up positive nature. Anything that is negative is an aberration or an accident that happened. Positive nature is made up of those three things. That's the Trine of nature: peace, beauty, and life. So as we go through our adventures along our road to truth, we'll keep that in mind. God bless you. We'll see you next time. Well, I'll tell you what, sometimes, life just sort of gets a little too complicated for its own good, When that happens, I think you just have to escape to the country, get out here and enjoy nature, and that's what I'm doing today. This is actually here behind my house, probably about 200 or 300 feet behind the house here. And this beautiful waterfall and kind of almost rises to the level of a spiritual experience in my book. Hey, sometimes you'll hear me get off on a tangent about religion and spirituality and that kind of thing. And, especially when I'm in a setting like this where I'm out in the midst of nature, all the beauty and tranquility of God's handicraft, sort of all rolled into one. I have a name for it in my life. It's sort of a lifestyle that I call the Knee Meadow Way. I won't get into what knee means, but it's spelled N-A-O-I. I call it NIM for short. But it's all about nature and peace, beauty, and art, music, and being kind to your neighbor. And there's a place in there for Jesus too, and for the meaning of God. So can't think of a better place to think about all those things than out here in this kind of a setting right here. So I thought I'd share that with you. Sometime or other there might be some people who are on the same page that I am. Might want to sit under these trees or this waterfall and kind of talk about the meaning of life a little bit. I'd be happy to game. I want to share that with you. Beautiful day and it's a beautiful setting.